in and cut me down for years. I kicked the door open with my shoulder. Grandma's small weight cradled against my chest. Champagne glasses froze midair. The fire hissed as if it knew what I was about to say. My badge caught the firelight. I met every pair of eyes in that warm room and let my voice go cold. 6 words measured and metallic split the air. The laughter died. 2 hours earlier, my patrol car idled at the curb on Maple Street, engine ticking as it cooled. Christmas lights stitched porch to porch. Dispatch was quiet, so the guys at the precinct tossed me the same line. "Go home, LT, it's Christmas Eve." I told them I didn't have a home to go to. Not really, but Grandma did. And I wanted to see her face when I said surprise. I parked half a block away so the old Ford wouldn't announce me. Breath left my lungs in pale ribbons. 31 degrees. The air cuts your nose and makes your hands feel borrowed. Snow squeaked under my boots as I crossed the yard I grew up mowing. Through the window, the living room blazed with the kind of warmth money buys. I saw them in silhouettes that used to mean safety. Dad wide as a wall. Mom's helmet of Christmas hair. My brother Tommy mid-story. My sister Bree laughing on cue. On the porch where the wind slid its fingers under the eaves sat Grandma. Thin sweater, house slippers, no blanket. Her hands trembled in her lap. The sight punched the breath from me. "Grandma," I whispered. Her head turned slowly, careful with bones that had earned their caution. Then that smile, the one that could fold time, found me. "Annie," she said, my childhood name wrapped in a threadbare voice. "You came." I shrugged out of my duty jacket and wrapped it around her. Heat bled from me into her. The cop in me did inventory. Skin pale, lips tinged blue, shivering. The granddaughter in me wanted to tear the door from its hinges. "Why are you out here?" I asked. She fluttered a hand. Fresh air. Inside, Tommy's punchline landed. Laughter rolled through the glass. "How long?" I asked. "Oh, don't fuss," she said. "They're busy. It's a party." 3 years of transfers flashed behind my eyes. Money for Grandma's care. Meals, mids, heat. Those dollars had tasted like peace when I sent them. Now they tasted like ash. I slid my arms under Grandma. She weighed less than my vest. When I lifted, a small sound left her throat. Not pain. Relief. "Annie, dear," she breathed. "Your mother will be cross." "She'll live," I said. The door handle gave nothing. Locked. Of course. I set Grandma against my chest and knocked 3 measured raps. Footsteps. The deadbolt slid. The door opened 4 inches, just wide enough for manners. Mom's face filled the crack, lipstick a brave holiday red. For a heartbeat, she didn't understand what she was seeing. Then her expression arranged itself into surprise, then annoyance. Then that brittle smile that had tucked me. "Anna," she said, "you should have told us." I wanted to see Grandma. "She's resting," Mom said, "in the cold." Her eyes flicked past me. "She likes the porch." Dad leaned into view, chin set. "Lose the attitude. It's Christmas." Tommy's grin arrived, then faltered when he noticed my jacket around Grandma's shoulders. Bree hovered behind them with an apology dying on her tongue. I didn't answer. I shifted, set my heel, and drove my shoulder into the wood. The frame cracked and swung. Heat rolled over us, cinnamon and roast. Steam lifted where winter met hearth. Conversation died like a candle under glass. I stepped over the threshold, letting the badge hang where they could see it. "Move," I said, and the wall split. Mom to one side, Dad to the other. My siblings backing up with glasses clutched like talismans. The living room looked smaller than memory. Stockings with names hung on the mantel. Dad, Mom, Tommy, Bree. No stocking for Grandma. The omission roared louder than the fire. Tommy tried first. "Annie, we were just—" "Don't," I said. Bree's eyes shone. "We didn't mean don't." Silence gathered between us like black ice. The cop in me counted details. Environment warm and festive. Victim found outside at 31 Fahrenheit without adequate covering. Family present. Signs of neglect. Funding provided by reporting party. The granddaughter in me saw a summer memory. Blanket fort. Thunder outside. A flashlight under our chins while Grandma turned shadows into stories that made fear gentle. Those 2 selves stood shoulder to shoulder and agreed on one word. Enough. I adjusted my grip and faced them. Their eyes skittered, looking anywhere but at the truth in my arms. I let the silence stretch. When I finally spoke, my voice was steady, the kind that carries in courtrooms. I spoke 6 words. The air changed. The room shrank. Champagne dulled. Someone whispered, "Oh, God." Dad's mouth opened and closed. Mom's hand flew to her pearls. Tommy swore. Bree started to cry. I didn't wait for defense. I shifted Grandma higher and turned toward the door. Winter reached in as I opened it. Behind me, the house crackled with a new kind of fire, the kind that eats through stories and leaves only facts. Outside, the night swallowed us in quiet. Snow pebbled the sidewalk with a soft hiss. I tucked Grandma closer and let the breath I'd been holding go. "Where to, Annie?" Grandma asked. "Someplace that remembers what the word family means," I said. When I was 9 years old, thunder cracked over our little house on Maple Street. But Grandma pulled a quilt around her shoulders, grabbed a flashlight, and crawled into the blanket fort I had built. "Storms," she whispered, shining the light under her chin, "are just the sky telling stories." I forgot to be afraid. That was Grandma's gift. She turned fear into something small enough to hold in your hands. I grew up in a house where shouting was common currency. Dad barked about bills. Mom snapped about appearances. Tommy and Bree learned fast that laughing at his jokes and complimenting her hair got them what they wanted. Me? I asked questions. I pushed back. I signed up for the Army, then the Academy, and finally the badge. But Grandma pinned my cadet badge on with hands that trembled and her eyes spilled proud tears. "You'll do good," she said, "because you remember what pain feels like." That night, I promised myself she would never feel pain because of me. Fast forward to Christmas Eve. 31 degrees, no blanket, her body shaking like leaves in November. My blood went cold because in one snapshot I saw decades of lies. They hadn't just neglected her tonight. They had been erasing her day by day while cashing the checks I sent. It all made sense now. The extra car in the driveway, the remodeled kitchen, the vacations posted online. Meanwhile, Grandma's hands had grown thinner, her clothes older. Every transfer I made in her name had bought them another bottle of champagne. "Annie," she murmured against my jacket. "Don't be too hard on them." Her voice cracked something in me. Too hard? I'd barely begun. I wanted to tell her everything I'd seen in my job. The bruises hidden under sleeves. The silent tears of elders left in squalor while their children pocketed pensions. We called it elder abuse in the reports. 3 words that carried the weight of felony charges. I had seen strangers do it. Now it was my own blood. And here was the cruel twist. Grandma, even in her suffering, still defended them. Still made excuses. That was her way, I whispered into her hair. "They'll answer for this, Grandma." "I swear it," she patted my chest, weak but steady. "Promise me you won't lose yourself, Annie. Don't let anger take you." I closed my eyes because I knew anger was already in me, curling like smoke. But I also knew something else. There's a difference between anger and justice. Anger burns quick and leaves ashes. Justice, when done right, leaves scars on the guilty and safety for the innocent. I wanted both. That's when I shifted her weight, turned back to the door, and squared my shoulders. For once in my life, I wasn't going to argue or plead or try to make them see me. I was going to make them see her. The living room looked the same, but it felt foreign. The tree twinkled, gold ribbons, presents stacked high beneath. Stockings lined the mantel, Dad, Mom, Tommy, Bree, but no stocking for Grandma. That detail sliced through me sharper than any blade. Dad set his glass down with deliberate force, like a judge with a gavel. "Anna," he said, voice dipped in disdain. "What's the meaning of this?" I adjusted my hold on Grandma and let my badge glint under the firelight. "The meaning," I said evenly, "is that she's freezing on your porch while you toast yourselves." Mom gasped as though I had cursed. "That's not fair." She wanted air. "Quiet, Grandma," I said softly, then louder. "Air at 31 degrees isn't air. It's a death sentence," Tommy chuckled nervously. "Come on, sis. Don't be so dramatic. I've seen hypothermia take people half her age in half the time." My eyes scanned the room. "You were in here sipping champagne while she shook like a leaf?" Bree wrung her hands. "We didn't mean intent doesn't matter." "Impact does," Dad crossed his arms. You always were dramatic. This is Christmas Eve. Don't come barging in here accusing your family. I met his stare. Family protects the vulnerable. Family doesn't leave them on a porch like forgotten furniture. For a moment, no one spoke. The fire cracked. You erased her, I said. My voice shook not with weakness, but with fury. You've been erasing her for years. Mom frowned. We haven't. You think I don't notice? I snapped. All the transfers I made for her care. Where did it go? Because it didn't buy her warmth. It bought your vacations, your remodels, your champagne. Tommy raised his glass. Now hold on! Shut up, I said, sharper than I meant, but true all the same. Dad slammed his hand against the armrest. You don't talk to your brother that way in my house. Your house, I barked a laugh. Built on my money. Money I sent for her. You paraded it as generosity while treating her like a burden. Silence thickened. Bree started to cry. We thought you'd never know. There it was. The slip. You're right, I said. I didn't know. Not until tonight. But now I do, and now there's no going back. Dad straightened, trying to reclaim control. You're not going to lecture us. Put her down. Go back to your shift and mind your own damn business. That was it. The line between cop and granddaughter fused. This is my business. It became my business the second I saw her lips turning blue while you toasted yourselves. I let the words fall like a gavel. Elder abuse, Tommy snorted. Oh, give me a break. Elder abuse, I repeated, louder, colder. It's a charge, a felony. Neglect of a dependent adult. And I've got enough evidence right here to start the report. Their faces shifted then. Pale, tight, the smugness leaking out like air from a punctured tire. Mom whispered, Anna, please. I held her gaze. You wanted air. Let's see how you breathe when the law knocks on your door. The silence that followed was different now. Not defensive, not mocking. Fear had entered the room, subtle and sharp. I said 6 words. They waited, breathless. She's safe. Elder abuse report filed. It was like striking a match in a room of gas. Tommy cursed and dropped his glass, liquid bleeding across the carpet. Mom clutched at Dad, whispering, No, no, no! Bree sank into the couch. Dad surged forward as though he might grab me, but one look at the badge on my chest stopped him cold. I shifted Grandma against me, turned toward the door, and let the night swallow us again. The fire snapped behind me, but no one laughed now. In the dark, I whispered to her, They can't hide anymore, Grandma. Not from me. Not from the law. The cold bit deeper as I stepped off the porch. Behind me, the door slammed shut, but not before I caught the panic rising in their voices. When I eased Grandma into the passenger seat of my cruiser, she flinched at the cold vinyl. I cranked the heater until it roared. You're safe, I told her. That's all that matters. Inside the house, the shouting had turned frantic. Dad barking orders, Mom wringing her hands, Tommy pacing, Bree crying. The mask had cracked and fear seeped through. Half a mile down, I pulled into the precinct lot. I carried Grandma inside where warmth wrapped around us, not just from heaters, but from the nods of officers who lifted their chins in silent respect. LT, one of them said. You good? I looked down at her, then back up. We're good, I said. Behind me, somewhere in that house, my family was still unraveling. At the precinct, Officer Daniels brought her a mug of cocoa, steam curling in the air. For you, ma'am, he said gently. Her eyes twinkled, shy but grateful. Thank you, young man. For the first time that night, she looked less like a victim and more like herself. LT Ruiz called from the duty desk. You want me to log a report? The question tightened something inside me. I had said it. I had meant it. Yes, I said finally. My voice didn't waver. Log it. Ruiz nodded, already typing. Grandma sipped cocoa, her hand steadier now. Annie, she said softly. Don't ruin your Christmas for me. I crouched in front of her. Grandma, this isn't about Christmas. This is about right and wrong. Her eyes glistened. They're still your family. Family doesn't leave you freezing on the porch. She reached for my hand. Her skin was papery, but her grip was firm. Justice matters, but so does mercy. Don't let one bury the other. The phone at the duty desk rang just after midnight. Ruiz picked it up, listened, then glanced at me. It's your folks. You want me to hang up or? I'll take it, I said. Dad's voice crackled down the line. Anna, listen, we need to talk. I kept my tone flat. There's nothing to talk about. Yes, there is. You can't just file a report and walk away. Do you have any idea what this could do to us? Yes, I said. That's the point. Behind him, I heard Mom sobbing. Anna, Mom cried, please. We made a mistake. Don't let the state tear our family apart over one night. One night? My voice rose. This wasn't one night. This has been years. We didn't mean... Stop saying you didn't mean it. You did it over and over. Intent doesn't erase impact. Finally, Dad spoke again. Quieter. We'll make it right. Just tell them not to come. You can fix this, Anna. Your family. I looked across the room at Grandma. Her eyes met mine, soft and pleading. She shook her head slightly. I can't undo what's been filed, I told him. The report is in. APS will follow up. That's the law, Dad swore. You'll regret this, Anna. No, I said. The only thing I regret is not seeing sooner what you've done. I hung up. 3 hours later, they showed up at the station. Not in suits and pride, but in pajamas under coats, faces pale, eyes red. Dad started first, words tumbling fast. Anna, please listen. Stop! My voice cut through. You had your chance to talk when Grandma was on your porch. Mom clasped her hands. We were wrong. We know that now. Bree stepped forward, tears streaking. Anna, please. We were selfish. But she's our mother, too. Don't take her away from us. I looked at them. She's not your mother anymore. Not after tonight. You lost that privilege. They flinched as if I'd struck them. Behind me, Grandma's voice rose, fragile but firm. Annie, I turned. She stood in the doorway, blanket around her shoulders. Don't, she said softly. Grandma, she stepped closer. They're still my children. They're still your family. Don't let anger turn you cruel. My chest tightened. They left you to freeze. I know. Her voice trembled, but her eyes didn't waver. And I forgave them before you walked through that door. They don't deserve forgiveness. Maybe not, she whispered. But forgiveness isn't about what they deserve. It's about what we choose to carry. My family behind me, desperate and broken. My grandmother before me, weary but merciful. And me, caught between them, badge heavy on my chest, heart heavier still. Her eyes, those eyes that had calmed storms when I was 9 years old, held me. Grandma, I whispered. This could ruin everything, she nodded. Yes, but if you push too far, it could ruin you too. Justice mattered, but so did mercy. And maybe the truest revenge wasn't prison bars. It was making them live every day with the memory of what they'd done and the grace of the woman they had wronged. The report stands, I said finally. APS will come. But what happens next depends on how you live with what you've done. Dad swallowed hard. Mom wept harder. Bree nodded faintly. Grandma's hand found mine. That's enough, Annie. That's enough. And for the first time that night, I let the fire in my chest flicker just enough to breathe. The days that followed felt different. News spread in whispers. The same neighbors who once envied their champagne parties now crossed the street to avoid them. Dad stopped going to work. Mom closed the curtains. Tommy raged. Bree was the only one who cried in public. 6 words had done this. She's safe. Elder abuse report filed. Words they would hear in their heads every time the phone rang, every time a neighbor looked too long. At the precinct, Grandma's world was expanding. Officers brought her cookies from home. The rookies asked her advice. This place, she said one evening, feels like family. Her words pierced me. She wasn't invisible here. She was seen. She was valued. She was loved. The APS investigation moved forward. There would be consequences. My family would never escape the stain. But I didn't feel triumph. Just a deep, steady calm. Grandma sat beside me, her hand over mine. You've done enough, she said. Have I? I asked. Yes. Her smile was soft. The law will take care of what it must. Let their guilt take care of the rest. Justice wasn't about vengeance. It was about balance. And balance had been restored. On New Year's Eve, the precinct gathered again. Pizza boxes stacked on tables, laughter filling the air. Grandma sat in the center, a paper crown on her head. She caught my eye across the room and mouthed, "Thank you." I walked over, kneeling so we were eye level. For what? I asked. "For giving me back a family," she said. I blinked against the sting in my eyes. "You never lost me." "I know," she said. "But now I know I'll never be alone either." Later that night, when the clock struck midnight, I stepped outside. The snow was falling again, soft and endless. I thought of my blood family, sitting in that house, curtains drawn tight, afraid to face the world they had once ruled. And I thought of Grandma inside, surrounded by warmth and laughter, finally cherished the way she always should have been. That was justice. That was mercy. That was enough, as I drove Grandma home, not to Maple Street, but to my own place where she would live from then on. She fell asleep in the passenger seat, her face peaceful. I whispered to the night, "She's safe." And this time, the words weren't a warning or a threat. They were a promise.